Disclaimer. This podcast features a conversation between two individuals regarding assistive technology. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this episode belong solely to the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of their respective employers. Furthermore, this discussion is for informational purposes only.
Hi, welcome to Assistive Technology Today Podcast. I'm your host, Vinny L, and today we're here with our special guest, an SLP, Israel Montano. He is the developer of a software program, and he's also known as AKA Mr. Speechy.
That's right, yeah.
So without further ado, I'm going to have him speak and talk about what he has to share with us, and also to give him a thank you. He's also a Navy veteran, and we thank you for your service to Israel. So without further ado, welcome to Assistive Tech Today Podcast.
Thanks, Vinny, and thanks for the support. So I mean, like you already said, I'm a speech pathologist. I'm the founder of SLP AI Tools. And yeah, I mean, right now, I am a clinician and also a founder. So I'm still working as an SLP. The platform launched back in August. We had a really good launch, and we've been doing really well as a platform, all in all, with lots of good growth. But I'm still balancing both hats. And so that's certainly going to be, it's been a very trying time, but a really good time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the overall platform, it's the main issue that it solves is the burnout issue that all SLPs face. And that's the large amounts of paperwork that we have to deal with. And so whether that's your SOAP notes, whether that's creating an evaluation summary or evaluation report, if you're even writing a language sample as an SLP, we do that. And then also being able to generate materials with our own SLP chat, which is kind of like a chat GPT, but it's more specifically for SLPs. And we've recently actually just imported a really sweet feature where we're now able to create video games. And I'm literally getting kids that are addicted to now coming to speech therapy because they're now creating their own video game. And it's coming alive, and it's really, really like high-speed stuff. Yeah, it's really high-speed stuff. And so
we learn through play. So there you go. You've got one hurdle kind of solved. Especially today, kid. There's not one kid I don't know who doesn't like video games.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, they're all about it. And so being able to allow them to build and also us to target speech therapy, it's the perfect blend. So yeah, I mean, that's imported now within our SLP chat as a feature. And then we also have a patent pending tool for school-based SLPs that have to take into consideration like all these different variables whenever we are crafting our schedules. So like when you have a 50 student caseload, you have probably half of those students that go to a resource room or a special education room that they need extra help. So we can't book them during that time. Then we also have to take into consideration them going on a break, them having a lunchtime and whatever, all those different variables. And so the tool itself allows you to just put in all those blocked times, and it figures out where to put all your students. So it negates hours worth of time within minutes.
So it kind of streamlines everything for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, time management, that's, AI, some people are, afraid of AI, just like when the computer came out, but, it's just another tool. And if it's good at, some things I don't think it's good at, but other things like what you're talking about and what you've developed, that's a great tool for time management to give, like you said, if you have a 50, patient caseload, how much really time, that cuts into the time you have to spend with them one-on-one. So if you can do some of the mundane tasks and get it out of the way, and it allows you to focus on what you're really there for. I mean, paperwork's part of the job, but the real end goal, obviously, and I'm not an SLP, but I've worked with enough kids in various, forms, but to basically help them. So the more time they get, the better it is for them.
Right. And, it's like, like you said, paperwork is part of the job, right? So there's like the necessary components that shows that we are competent. And really, it's a form of what's the right word I'm looking for? It's a form of accountability that we have with the school district, that we have with an insurance company, whatever. And usually, I'm just talking about one of the tools right now. Like we have a SOAP note tool. And basically, the whole premise of it is that your SOAP note's done by the end of your session, because everything that you're going to write in your SOAP note is already being said within your session, or at least should be already said within your session. If you are telling the student to produce the Z sound, you should be commenting and telling them how well they're doing.
Right.
And so by saying that out loud, our dictation tool is going to capture it and then synthesize that SOAP note by the time you're done. So it takes care of that accountability component that we have to communicate with insurance companies, with your supervisors, whoever. And it takes out that time where you have to spend an extra 5 to 7 minutes to be able to write a really quality SOAP note. So, and to even underscore this even more, our job isn't about the paperwork. Our job isn't even really about us. Or like our job is about the outcomes that we provide. So parents could care less about really the methods that we do. It's just a matter of, can you get my son or daughter, can you get a patient to be able to coherently communicate?
Right.
And if we're doing that, it's like, just get it done.
Right.
So our paperwork certainly should reflect that, and it does. And it's really, really cool to be able to do that with the SOAP Note tool. And then also kind of bringing it to the assistive technology side. One of the issues that a lot of companies have, such as Tobii Dynavox, PRC Saltillo, maybe your company that you work with as well, is whenever you guys submit paperwork to an insurance company, it sometimes gets rejected or oftentimes gets rejected. And being able to write a evaluation in the best possible way that is catering to that insurance company and allowing that to be systematized within all the clinicians, especially whenever they're drafting it or writing it. Our platform has the ability for the clinician to do their evaluation report and for them to basically read off what's going on with or what happened during that evaluation. So if they're reading off a manual or if they're reading off the protocol that they just administered, and then just talking about what happened throughout the entire evaluation, our AI can then synthesize all that information and import it in such a way that is going to be proper for that insurance company who's receiving it. Now, of course, it's not as though it's done for you. You still have to go in. That's your first draft, but it at least gets you that format that you need to submit something that's going to be compliant for that insurance company. And so, that's just one other huge component that the platform serves with private practices and other companies like that to ensure that they're getting a systematized evaluation report from the SLPs.
So this is all great stuff. So does this also, is it more just for, like I said, for the paperwork end of it, does it give you data so you can see progression? Like, are they progressing within, the lessons or the therapy that you're providing? Do you get data out of that to see, where you're at, or is it more just for, the clinical stuff that you need to fill out all your paperwork to be a little more clarified?
Yeah, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, when you create all those SOAP notes within the session, you can create a progress note. And in that progress note, you can create, or it does generate, if you wanted to, a chart showing that progress.
Okay.
Is that what you were kind of aiming at?
Exactly. I was trying to see. Yeah, that's one of the things I know with AI, a lot of stuff I talk about, it's pulling out data that we can look at in real time and see, the old days it was all pen and paper, or just how you see you're interacting. You had to write that data. You had to write that data down. But now if you're using it, like you said, you have a video game, I'm sure it's recording some kind of data so you can see, some kind of progression of where you're doing, if are they doing well, or they're gaining from the therapy.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, creating the games itself would be within like the SLP chat tool, and then within that session, of course, you're talking about how things are going, and how they are, targeting a word, missing a word, not really understanding how to use regular past tense verbs or whatever you're targeting, and that's captured within the SOAP note tool. And so it's just, you're tying in nicely as far as how you can really synthesize all these different components in one coherent session.
Right.
And
So that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I know you had mentioned, we were talking a little bit before we jumped on the podcast. You had mentioned about the iWatch or the Apple Watch.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, the Apple Watch is an iOS product, and we're coming out with another one probably within the next month. That's going to be for iPhones and tablets. But just right now, like the Apple Watch app is meant for SLPs to get data collection. So most oftentimes what we're doing for our data collection is we're still using the pencil and the paper and our tallies.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a SLP that wants to be a little bit more nifty, you use a little clicker. But if you're an SLP that's familiar with our platform, you know to use, the trackers that are embedded within our platform,
Mm-hmm.
or you could use the Apple Watch if you have one. And it's really sweet. I mean, it really helps out with knowing the calculation right at the very end, because it's not as though you have to count all the tally marks.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to customize the different trackers so that it actually reflects the goal that you're targeting. So you don't have to think about which tally mark is this belonging to, or what is this calculator belonging to, or this accuracy tracker targeting, or whatever, whatnot. And yeah, I mean, it allows you to save a little bank of goals in there for you to save for future sessions or reuse for another session.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in the Apple Watch, I know for myself, going from session to session, back to back, I need to make sure that I'm paying attention to that clock. And I need to make sure I'm going to be out the door so I could get the next session in, because if I'm 5 minutes off, it really throws me off for
Yeah.
the rest of the day.
Right.
So in the Apple Watch app, you now have a timer, or you have a timer where you're able to basically at the very end of your session, you get a vibration that shows, hey, your session's done. And then just to continue on.
Sure.
So yeah. And then the last thing, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, so is this going to be across the platform, all iOS devices eventually? You have it for iPad, iPhone, and the Apple Watch?
Exactly. Yep.
Any thoughts about doing, I mean, I'm an Android guy, but I know a lot of the teachers use iPhone. I'm the outcast in my family. I'm the only one. I'm the black sheep. I have the Android because I'm a tech guy, but everybody else has iPhones. So is there any possibility for Android? I mean, it's the lesser, I guess, platform. At least I know from most of the people I work with. They mostly are iPhone dominant.
Yeah. No, for sure. We want to move into the Android space, but for us, it's just making sure that the iOS is nice and clean, good to go, and then move over to Android. Because a lot of school districts I know that are here usually supplement their SLPs with iPads.
Okay.
So that's just a universal tablet that they usually get set up with. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of these, because I mean, working in the assistive tech end, I mostly deal with iPads. I know my own kids, every school district's different. I know they do a lot, they deploy Chromebooks,
Yep.
But, that's mainstream. So, a lot of the assistive apps, there are some Chrome accessibility apps, but it's predominantly iPad, So the other question I was going to ask you is any of this with the stuff that you're offering, is any of this anywhere worried with HIPAA compliancy? Because I know that's a big thing with software and data collection.
Right. Yeah. I mean, none of this would actually happen if it wasn't HIPAA compliant. So that was, of course, first thing that we have to make sure that is taken care of. And so this is actually a really good launching point to talk about, like, what makes something HIPAA compliant? What actually does HIPAA compliance mean? And what is even HIPAA? Because I know that this is a term that is usually used within our circles, and we usually don't even know how to spell HIPAA correctly. And we don't even know what HIPAA really is. I know for myself, when going to grad school, I thought HIPAA was like this organization, kind of like ASHA, but it's not. It's just a standard by which they're holding everybody who's in the health space to certain ethical standards as far as how you're supposed to handle personal health information, everything that just goes into health. So yes, the platform is HIPAA compliant. Our backend has bank level data encryption so that nothing that comes in within our platform actually can be accessible. It's just, there's no way anyone could get any type of hacking into it or nothing like that. Everything that our PHI, personal health information, touches regarding any type of AI servicer, we have a BAA signed with them, and that's a business associate agreement. And it was over at ASHA this past year. We brought our BAAs to show to the SLPs, one, as a teaching tool to show that this is actually needed and necessary if
Mm-hmm.
you are going to be a server and somebody who's going to provide these types of services. This has to be settled. And so telling SLPs to request the BAA for anyone that they're going to potentially work with, because it's very easy in this world where you could vibe code an app to slap on HIPAA compliance and to not really be knowledgeable about like what actually makes it. So we brought our BAAs. We have BAAs signed with Microsoft Azure, with Google, with DeepGram, with AWS, all these different companies that we have a business associate agreement, ensuring that no information that is passed on to them will get leaked into or passed to a model that trains the AI.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I could even go a little bit deeper onto that too, but I think that is absolutely necessary within the
Great.
platform. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist.
Sure. No, that's good to know because, like I said, I know you got to keep, data is everything's, in the cloud now. So obviously, keeping people's privacy, especially for medical related stuff, it's a paramount that it's done. So no, I just wanted to clarify that. I was pretty sure that it was. I wouldn't think you'd be talking about it if it wasn't. So
Yeah.
is this product available now for like, how does it work? Is it a subscription based? Is it available to it has to be you have to be a clinicianist to get the software to use it, I would assume.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, we've had only a few people sign up that weren't clinicians, that were just like people who were heads of like a skilled nursing facility or
Mm-hmm.
school district, sped director type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like technically anyone could sign up for it, but it's just most oftentimes it's just SLPs who sign up for it.
Right.
And it's a subscription. So we recently actually upped our prices because the demand was high, and it certainly is. We're moving into a certain direction where we're going a little bit more broader, and we're upgrading a lot of the things within the platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a subscription model. And we have licenses with universities and other companies around the country. So,
Right.
things are moving.
Okay. Other thought, I know we touched on iOS and Android. Is there any potential for any type of web-based platform, like a web interface where they just use like a web browser, or is that not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the platform was actually built as a web app
Okay.
initially. Yep. So it's first started off natively as a web app. It's moving into the iOS is what we're doing. So
Right. Right.
yeah. Yeah, it's been a fun journey being able to build it, being able to work on it. It's my baby, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been my life for a little while now. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, the cool thing when, with stuff that's built with an app or if it's web-based, it's like, you can go with the flow. Like you can make changes rapidly on the fly. It's not like the old days where you would, have a software on DVD or a CD, and once it's made, it's like, then you have to go back, redo it, and then, if somebody needs it, they either have to download some type of update.
Right.
If they don't, it's antiquated, it's not up to date. So, I mean, the subscription model serves well for certain, for applications like this where you need to be, compliant and you need to be up to the latest, software.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So where can they find out more about, your program? I mean, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes
Yeah,
below so people can check out what, if they don't, write it down now, but just if you could let us know like what's where they can check everything out.
for sure. It's you can find us at slptools.ai,
Okay.
and that's the main platform. You could always, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. I haven't moved over to TikTok yet, but
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely coming in the future. And yeah, that's basically where you can find all the different places where we are.
Right. Great. Great.
Yeah,
It's funny when we started, I mean, this podcast is pretty new. You're one of my first few guests, and I appreciate, getting the first few guests is always the hardest, to get people in because I don't have any traction yet. But
Yeah.
I didn't even introduce myself other than saying my name. So I'm gonna it's better late than never, but I figured it was a good time when segue into that. So my background, we learned about Israel, but my background is I'm an assistive technology specialist and an AT consultant, and I've been doing that for the last 24 years. The company I work for is Enabling Devices, formerly known as Toys for Special Children. And I've been with them for 24 years, and they're celebrating this year their 50th year in business for some people who don't know about us. And this is my own podcast, but the company is definitely supportive of what I do and to highlight, this technology that's available to help, our fellow clinicians to be aware of things that they may not have. And also as to help out the channel and to basically help out our listeners and viewers. If you visit enablingdevices.com, we're giving our viewers a 10% one-time use discount, AT today 26. So if you check out Enabling Devices and you find something that you want to buy, go ahead and use that coupon and save yourself 10%. Sorry, I had to give that little plug there, Israel.
No, yeah, you should.
But yeah, I just trying to make awareness. Israel and I were talking about this before, like, you know, this, you don't know about so many things existed, even though you went to school and you learned about things. It's like when you have a caseload and you're currently still an active, therapist, you only have so much time in a day to like explore other, what's out there. There's so much stuff coming, especially now with AI. There's so much stuff out there. I
Right.
mean, if unless you go to like Astra or ATIA and you happen to see things, but we were talking, when you go to some of these events, you have some of your time, sometimes a lot of your time is, on lectures you have to attend, for continuing education, you need to attend some of these lectures. So you may not get time to fully go through the whole floor and see every little thing. So one of my goals with the podcast is to basically allow people have access to what's out there. I'm trying to get the greatest and the brightest, people that have these really great innovative tools that will make their job easier and help serve the population we serve and
Yeah.
do the best we can for them. So, that's another, one of the reasons why we did the podcast and trying to spread the word.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the assistive technology world is so new to me still. I mean, like you said, offline before everything, like in graduate school, I only learned about Tony Dynavox, and all I really knew was that they made some tablets. They
Hmm.
made an eye tracker thing, but I
Right.
had no clue like what goes into that, like the process of that. I
Well,
had no clue, like any of this.
well, the funny thing is that, that you mentioned that, and it's been that way since I've been involved in the industry. Um, when you go to school to either be an OT, a PT, or a SLP like yourself, they don't really, maybe if you're fortunate enough, the school might show you some assistive tech, but they don't really spend a lot of time on the devices. When you get out into the real world and into the field, you basically have to learn, kind of on your own. It's almost like a doctor. When a doctor goes to medical school, they don't really spend much time on nutrition, you know,
Right.
and it's so important, you are what you eat, if you eat good and hopefully you'll keep your body healthy. But, so I always found that mind boggling when I first started in this business. I'm like, they don't give you any like courses on AT, like all the equipment that's out there, and they don't. So
Right.
unless you go to workshops or somebody, a school might partner with a company like mine where we would come in and do an in-service to, let them see, some of the products. So they have graduate students that may come in and make a visit to the company and check out all the products that we make. They have very little exposure, you know?
Right. 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 Yeah. And yeah, thankfully I had a really good teacher or professor in graduate school. That was her specialty, was like AAC. But even though that was her specialty, one of the things that was missed is just like the process of getting an approval for a student or for a
Right, right.
patient. And like that's a huge, arguably probably the most important component And
Exactly.
it's like I don't remember. She may have talked about it. Forgive me, Dr. Hansen, but like I don't remember that being talked about. And so it's like it's that thing. It's that component that is new. And there's so many different companies out there that do it, right? Or there's
Right.
several different companies. I don't know if I should say so many, but there's several.
Mm-hmm.
And so just learning about that, learning the process, and being able to just get that done for the people that we
Right.
serve.
And sometimes it takes a little bit of time with red tape to get a device approved. So it's not always a fast thing. And, it could be somebody's voice. So, it's important that they get the tools they need to live, to live their life with the dignity and, allow them to be, it's inclusive, so that they can communicate with the world and their family and friends and loved ones.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So,
For sure.
Israel, before we go, is there anything else you want to share with our viewers and listeners today before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's basically it. I mean, it was cool being on here with you, Vinny. I already know. I mean, like I'm one of the first ones here, but it's always fun to be able to chat and to have a
Right, right.
conversation about, you know, my platform, assistive tech, and just in general, and being able to learn from you. And hopefully the viewers just got something out of this.
Right, right. Well, we'll probably want to check back in with you in a little time to see what's going on in the future with your program.
For sure. That'd be
All
great.
right. Israel, thanks for coming and being a guest on the show. I really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching Assistive Technology Today podcast. I'm your host, Vinny L. We'll see you on the next podcast.
Later, Vinny.
Take care.